Okay, so the third rule we're going to look at is taking the root of a variable, specifically the square root. Okay, so let's talk again about square root. So if I have like the square root of 4, that means we're thinking about like what times itself equals 4. And we know that's 2 times 2, so the square root of 4 is 2. So if I want, for example, the square root of x squared, okay, we're thinking, again, what times itself gives me x squared? And that would be like x times x, because 1 plus 1 is 2. And so the square root of x squared is x. And so kind of the same idea, like the square root of x to the 6 is what times itself equals x to the 6. Okay, and so I need my base to be x, but I need to get it to be 6. And remember, we said when we're multiplying, we add the exponents in that previous video. So I need like what plus what gives me 6 itself, and that would be x to the 3rd. And so the square root of x to the 6 is x to the 3rd. So kind of following that pattern, the square root of x to the 4th is x squared, because again, x squared times x squared is x to the 2 plus 2, which is x to the 4th. And the square root of x to the 20th is x to the 10th, because x to the 10th times x to the 10th, we add our exponents, 10 plus 10 is to the 20th. Okay. So there is a pattern, if you can see it. This is the square root of x squared gives me x to the 1st, sorry. Square root of x to the 6th gives me x cubed. And when I have the square root of x to the 4th, it gives me a squared. So notice the exponent on the answer is always half of the exponent that we're taking the square root of. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So this is the same thing. Anytime I'm taking the square root, I take the exponent and I divide it by 2. And so 16 divided by 2 is 8. The square root of x to the 24th, I take 24 and divide it by 2, and I get x to the 12th. This one, I take the 10 and divide it by 2, and I get x to the 5th. And if I have the square root of x to the 8th, I take 8 and I divide it by 2, and I get x to the 4th. Okay. So anytime we're taking the square root, so this is what do you do to the exponent when you're taking the square root? Okay, what we do is we divide the exponent by 2. So anytime we take the square root, we divide the exponent by 2. Okay, and so that is how we do the square root of a variable.